What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with another college football preview video today for the 2020 season. And up today, the Louisville Cardinals from the ACC. Louisville did not have their best year last year in 2019. Listen, they fired Bobby Petrino. Did I say that? Bobby Petrino. Try saying that 1,000 times fast. They fire him, I guess, last year before, whatever. Actually fired him, I think, after the 2018 season. But Scott Satterfield is the new head coach, who was the head coach of Appalachian State. In my opinion, I'm not saying Bobby Petrino is the worst coach in America or anything, but it just is not working out. It was not working out at Louisville. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this preview video. So again, I mentioned Petrino out, Scott Satterfield in. You look at this team from last year. Opened the season with Notre Dame at home. I mean, you played them pretty well at first, I guess, but you gave up 5 touchdowns. You lose that 35-17. Play Eastern Kentucky 42-0. You shut them out. You win 38-21 against Western Kentucky. So your first 4 games before a bye week, you kind of split it 2-2, losing to Notre Dame and Florida State. You get a bye week, play Boston College, and then go on the road at Wake Forest. You win both of those games. Then you lose 45-10 at home against Clemson, who I think the year prior beat you like 77-0 or something. I mean, so you played them a little bit better, but then again, home field advantage. So I guess that's good. Virginia Cavaliers came to town. You won 28-21 after the Clemson loss. Then you lose to Miami 52-27 on the road. Just terrible. So at NC State, you win 34-20. Syracuse, you beat them 56-34. And you lose at Kentucky 45-13. And, of course, you make the Music City Bowl against Mississippi State. 38-28, the final score, you win that. So, clearly, some up and down for Louisville. Clearly, some inconsistency. The biggest win streak they had, if anything, they won 2 games at a time, but then they lost. So, it's not like they had a losing or a win streak, really. I mean, you lose the first game, win 2, lose, win 2, lose, win 1, lose, win 2, lose. So win 2, then lose 1 or something. So definitely for Louisville, at least inconsistency or anything. I mean, I guess that was all right. And again, you went 8-5 overall with a win over Mississippi State. So you went 7-5 last year in the regular season. You look at 2018, you went 2-10, just terrible. With Petrino, he's out the door. I mean, just bad. 0-8 in the SEC. So a huge improvement with Scott Satterfield. So there's that. Now, does this say anything about Satterfield? You could look at it in one of 2 ways. Either Bobby Petrino just really sucks as a head coach, or Scott Satterfield is the real deal here at Louisville, that he can compete in the ACC a little bit. I'm sure he could probably recruit very well, but we'll have to see. But what can he do year 2 in 2020? Let's take a look at that. All right, moving on to 2020. Open it up. NC State comes to town. NC State was a decent team a couple years ago. It was I think game day went to Clemson, NC State. Maybe that was a home game for NC State, but they didn't look too good. Give Clemson credit, though. Um, I guess, I don't know. I got lost a little bit there, but anyway, open up with NC State. We'll see how they are. At Clemson, home against Murray State, home against Western Kentucky. At Syracuse, that's going to be a little tough. We'll see what happens. After that, October 10th at Boston College. Bye week comes about middle of the season on October 17th. Florida State comes to town. Virginia Tech on Halloween. At Virginia, Wake Forest, at Notre Dame, and then home against Kentucky. Or, no, it is home. My bad. And then after that, of course, the ACC Championship. But we know that they will, actually, let me see. Are they in the same as Clemson divisions? I'll have to check, but I mean, listen. Clemson's division is Clemson's division. That's a given. All right. And so, I mean, pretty much the other one is up for grabs. If you want to look at it like that, Louisville could, I mean, take your shot at it, I guess. Let me double check and look real quick because I'm curious. No, it's split up into Atlantic and Coastal divisions. Sorry, Louisville, you're in the same as Clemson, so it's not yours to take. Yeah, sorry. And you notice, if you look at the ACC, most of the, and listen, I know it's down in the dumps, but some of the teams that have been good before, if anything, you look at Louisville, Florida State, Syracuse, or whatever, that could mess around with Clemson a little bit, or they've lost to in recent history under Dabo Swinney, are in their own division. So, but anyway, I figured I'd throw that out there. Looking forward to 2020. Staying on track here. So, you open up with NC State. NC State competed a little bit a couple years ago, was ranked not necessarily top 10 or top 15, but in the top 20. Had a good win streak going. And then they lost to Clemson, and it just went downhill from there. This is at home. Should be no problem at Clemson. You already know my thoughts on Clemson. Everyone's thoughts on Clemson. Powerhouse, yada, yada, yada. All that. Murray State Racers. Never heard of her. A nobody team. Should be no problem. Western Kentucky comes to town. Then you're at Syracuse, at Boston College. Bye week. Florida State, Virginia Tech, at Virginia. Wake Forest, at Notre Dame, and home against Kentucky. I look at the schedule. First things first, you're losing to Clemson. That's a given. I think you could beat teams like Murray State. Well, that's it, I guess. Western Kentucky, you could probably beat them too. The cupcake non-con games. So, that's that. Again, Scott Satterfield, the new coach, I guess entering year 2, if I'm correct. Got to do better than Bobby Petrino. This could be a year that he can prove that he is the coach worthy for the job at Louisville. So, I mean, this is tough to figure out, I guess. Potential games that you probably could win that you probably should not win. I'm not sure. I mean, it's tough on the road in general, but the ACC is so down, you don't know what to make of it. I mean, at this point for Louisville, these games outside of Clemson, and I guess you could say Notre Dame, are kind of a coin flip. But I think I look at this schedule and I like them to start the season off on Thursday, September 3rd, home against NC State, and I like them to win that game. You'll lose at Clemson. You could beat Murray State. Western Kentucky, you could probably win that game too, right there. At Syracuse, that place is so loud. They've beat Clemson before. Syracuse is a team that is really good at home in the ACC. Again, I mentioned they beat Clemson a couple years ago, but Clemson was coming off a championship in a rebuild year, lost Deshaun Watson, blah, blah, blah. I expect Syracuse to win at home. I expect... What do I want to do with Boston College here? I guess I'll give that to Boston College. You lose 2 straight games and come off a bye week. Florida State comes to town. Florida State's terrible. I already did a preview video on them. You can't get worse than Willie Taggart, but I still think Mike Norvell is going to need a couple years to get the program up and running after being down in the dumps. So I think you can win that. I think, I did a Virginia Tech preview the other day. I'm trying to remember if I picked Virginia Tech for this. But I think, I'm pretty sure I picked Louisville. I'm going to stick to Louisville here on Halloween at home against Virginia Tech. If this were on the road in Blacksburg, I give it to Virginia Tech. At Virginia, let's see. Come off 2 straight wins from home. I guess I'll give it... I'm going to say Louisville could pull this off. I really think that. Give it to them on the road. It'll be close, though. I think they could beat Virginia on the road. Wake Forest comes to town. I have a feeling Wake Forest will sneak up on you. I feel like they might, be too comfortable at home, and I think Wake Forest could pull off a road win here in Louisville. So I'll give it to Wake Forest. At Notre Dame, you're losing that, and then Kentucky comes to town. What do I want to do here? Let's see. I think I'm going to give it to Kentucky. Kentucky's a better team. They've fallen off a little bit, but Mark Stoops is there, and he at least recruits decent enough, at least in the state. Kentucky's a better program, I think. So I'll give it to Kentucky. And with that being said, let's see. Calculate this. Say you lose Clemson. I'm going to give it to Syracuse to beat you. You'll lose Kentucky. Virginia. Let's see. Clemson, Syracuse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses. I would say the 5 losses are Notre Dame, Kentucky, Clemson. Hold on. Clemson, Syracuse, Notre Dame, Kentucky, and then I guess, I don't know. I'm a bit confused now. I know what I said when I was talking about the games themselves, but I'm just, it's still one of those things like, I don't know. Okay. You're losing to Clemson. That's 1 loss. At Syracuse is 2. I think you lose at Virginia. At Notre Dame. And I think you lose Kentucky. So about a 7-5 record and you end the season losing to your rival in Kentucky at home, and I'm going to say the Louisville Cardinals go 7-5. Not a bad record for a team like Louisville, be honest. But I just, still, Scott Satterfield wants to be the head coach of this program. He's going to have to prove it. Bobby Petrino's out the door. Satterfield comes in. Can't do worse than Bobby Petrino. He just ruined this program. I mean, it was already, in the dumps, but at the same time, come on now. So I guess maybe a 7-5 record, 6-6, somewhere in there. But I think I'm going to stick to 7-5. That's enough for a ball game. What happens in their ball game? Not concerned about that right now. Not so, but we will see what happens. And I guess that's pretty much it. Louisville fans, let me know why I'm right, why I'm wrong. Tell me why you're going to go 15-0, beat Clemson, beat this team or that team. Any other fans, let me know what you think about Louisville this year. I got them going 7-5. I mean, it could be 6-6. They could take a huge hit and not win anything. I mean, ACC is so hard to predict outside of Clemson because you just don't know what you're getting out of some of these teams, right? Now, Louisville's not a nobody. It's probably a great school. It has been a pretty decent football program before. It's well known. But at the same time, it's one of those programs that you don't know what you're going to get out of them. But anyway, so about a 6-6, going with 7-5 this year for Louisville in 2020. And I guess that's pretty much it for this preview video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell me why I'm wrong or right. Tell me what you think. And that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, Ballard Sports Media checking out. Y'all have a good day.